Hi everyone, Flossy here. I've had a few weeks to listen to the Eurovision album and look at some live performances, and there's been a few major changes in my preferences in terms of what songs are my favourites and what are my least favourites. So I'm going to kind of do a re-review, briefly, looking at every song. And the songs I'm going to look about today, as these songs only got 1 point initially when I heard them, they can get a maximum of 3 points. There's only a couple of songs overall in the entirety of Eurovision this year that I actually don't like, which makes it a bit harder to judge for me in working out what my winner is, because I do like the majority of these. I think this is one of the most open competitions we've had for quite a few years, and the rehearsals have started. We've got previews of all the live performances now. I've watched all the brief clips that the Eurovision YouTube channel has put up, so I haven't spoiled myself fully, but I've got a bit of a clue what they're going to be like. The first song is Albania's song. It's by Eugen Bushpepper, called Mal. This song is still in Albanian. Last year they translated it from Albanian into English at some point. This one, it's maintained the language, which is quite nice. It's in semi-final 1 as well, which is considered to be the toughest semi-final. The majority of the favourites are in this semi-final, so that makes it a bit trickier in terms of how likely it is going to get through. There's some songs which are pretty much guaranteed, but there's quite a few where it could be hit and miss. There's going to be a lot of disappointments coming out of this semi-final, I think. And for me, he has proved to be one of the most strongest and consistent vocalists of the contest. He's done a lot of the pre-parties, and he's absolutely nailed the vocals every time. He's nailed the vocals in rehearsal. So he's one of the best singers in my opinion. I like the fact that this song is in Albanian. I think initially when the first few songs were released, it looked like a lot of the songs would be in the country's native language. But as time went on and more songs were released, the majority of the songs are in English now, so this is actually in the minority in terms of the language. I appreciate this song. I think it's a good, strong song, but it's not to my particular taste. I don't dislike it, but it's not my cup of tea. So I'm going to give this song 2 points. It's a good song and it's vocally strong. It's just not the type of song I would choose to listen to, but I'm not complaining about listening to it in Eurovision. The second song I'm looking at is Germany's song. It's by Michael Schultz and it's called You Let Me Walk Alone. This is in English, and as Germany's one of the big 5, it's an automatic qualifier for the final. I think initially when I was looking at it, it only got 1 point because it was up against 2 songs which I just liked a bit more. It's just like the luck of the draw kind of for this. Vocally, I think he's very good. I still like the song, not as much as I initially did, but I do still really like it. You know, I do still think it's the Ed Sheeran type song, which is very pleasing for the masses, I think. I enjoy the simplicity of this song as well. It's not my favourite of the simple ballads. There's a few very simple ballads this year which are absolutely beautiful. I think this is up there, but it just, for me personally, it's just been beaten out by a couple of them. And I think when you compare this to all the rest of the songs, it doesn't stand out as much, whereas when it was picked there weren't as many songs, so this really stood out. So it's one of those things where the more songs are released, the less likely they are to stand out for this. I'm going to give it 2 points. I like the song. I think it's really good. I think just it doesn't stand out as much to me compared to a lot of the others. The next song I'm going to look at is Hungary's song. It's by AWS and it's called Viszlátnya, which I've probably pronounced wrong, sorry. This is in Hungarian. It's in semi-final 2, so this has a much stronger chance of making the final. I think this is one of the ones that's tipped to be most likely to make the final, actually. They're very consistent live. One thing I didn't realise when I first looked at it was that this song was actually about saying goodbye to someone, I think. and it was written for the singer's father who's recently passed away. There's something likeable about this band. There was a reaction video where 2 of the members reacted to all the songs in this year's Eurovision, and it was quite funny. One of them, he was just sat there silently the entire time and only got hyped up when their song came on, which was quite funny. And the other one, he was kind of like really positive about all the songs, and you could tell there were a couple of songs he didn't like, but he never like actively sought to like say, oh, I think this is a crap song, blah blah blah. He just kind of like was just like listening to it. He didn't say or do anything negative about it. It was just like, it was obvious he wasn't as into it, but it wasn't in a bad way, his reaction. I also really liked for the national final, when they found out that they had won, everyone else went crazy, but the lead singer was just stood there like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, alright. It's quite funny. That's one of the funniest moments of the national finals for me. I think this song is good. Like Albania's, it's not to my taste. This isn't a genre I particularly like. I think when I initially looked at it, because it's not a genre I like, it was sort of like, oh my gosh, what is this? So I will have a better reaction to it in the semi-final than when I first heard it. I'm going to give it 2 points. The only issue for this is it's not my type of song. I think it's good for the genre it is. Like, even though I don't particularly like certain genres and everything, I can still appreciate if they're good for that genre. In fact, I just generally try to appreciate songs in general, even though I don't like them, because someone does, and if it's reached out to someone, then it's just accomplished the whole point of music. So you can't really, I try not to discredit many songs. I'm not always good at that, but I just try and see the positive in it, even though I don't particularly like it. And so it's just not my type of song, but like I said, it has a brilliant meaning, and the background behind it is good, and they are consistent live. So the next song is Malta's Song. It's by Christabel and it's called Taboo. This song is in English and it's in semi-final 2. I think it's considered less likely to get through to the final than Hungary, but it's still it has a better chance being in this semi-final than the first one. Like before, I still really like the chorus of this song, and when I initially heard it, I felt like it was like 5 different songs mixed together, and that was really jarring for me. It's not as jarring now after a few listens, and especially as Macedonia's song came out, and that is 3 different songs put into one again, and I really like that one. So I have a better kind of viewing of this now. Vocally, I think she's been good. The only issue with this song is it's kind of there. Like, I don't have any particular passions about it either way. I don't love it, I don't hate it, it's just there. Like, it doesn't stand out to me for whatever reason. So I'm only going to give it 1 point. It doesn't stick out to me. I do like the chorus, and I will say I think she had probably the best music video of all the songs this year. It gave me kind of like Hunger Games vibe, Hunger Games, Mad Max type of thing, like post-apocalyptic, which was really cool. I'm going to look at Montenegro's song next. It's by Vanja Radovanovic, and the song is called Inya. The song is in Montenegro and it's in semi-final 2. I think vocally he is very strong. I like the song, and there's this part I especially like where before he does a proper belt towards the end, he goes very stripped back with his vocals, which I find quite cool. He's come across very likeable to me as well in interviews. There was a video with Rylan Clark, I think it was before London Eurovision, and he admitted no one has any idea what he's singing because obviously it's in a different language, but he was like, I hope they like it anyway, which I thought was quite good. It's quite down to earth, like when you're just saying, I hope it's good, kind of thing. Whilst I like this song, I think, unfortunately, like a lot of others, it doesn't stand out. So I'm only going to give it 1 point. I feel bad for it, but compared to songs I've given more points to, it's just missing something compared to them, but I do still like this song. The next song is San Marino's song. It's by Jessica featuring Jennifer Brenning, and the song is called Who We Are. This is in English. It's in semi-final 2. This song's grown on me a lot, actually. I realised this might have something to do with it, but the chorus is actually a lot like Heroes. When she goes, and we'll be rising till we fall, it's very much like we are the heroes of their time. Like, just that melody. So that might be why I like it a lot more. I think the little quirks that I initially found quite weird are now somewhat endearing to me, which is bizarre. Like, when I found out that they were bringing the little miniature robots to the actual Eurovision, I was there going, yay! Which was weird, because I thought they were bizarre the first time I saw it, which I think a lot of people will think, but it was quite pleasing to me. It's just one of those things when you're an intense Eurovision fan, I think. You get those little jokes, they grow on you. I did realise as well, with this entry, how strangely fond I am of San Marino in Eurovision. I don't know why. I think part of it might be, as a Brit, Brits tend to love the underdog, and in Eurovision, San Marino is one of the ultimate underdogs. You know, just look at how the fans reacted to them making the final in 2014. It was like, yay, they made it. It's the same as with Czech Republic getting excited because they've come out with a banger this year. And you're like, oh my gosh, Czech Republic's finally doing it, because they've only made the final once, and then they did really badly then. So you kind of want these countries that don't usually shine to do a lot better. And with San Marino as well, because it's a microstate and it doesn't have the budget that other countries like Sweden have, it's kind of embodies the point of Eurovision of including everyone, and it's one of the reasons why I support the whole Big Five thing anyway. Not just because I don't think the UK wouldn't really be in the final without the Big Five, but the whole thing about the Big Five is, without them, countries like San Marino wouldn't be able to compete. So that's a really kind of nice thing. It shows like countries supporting each other, even though it doesn't necessarily come across like, just by them being in the contest, it just shows that, I don't know what I'm saying now, that they're somewhat being included because of what other countries can do. I don't know what I'm saying now. But I'm going to give this song 2 points. I like the song a whole lot more. I think it is still a bit cheesy, but it's quite a good pop song. The next song is Slovenia's song by Leia Sirk. It's called Valene. This is in Slovene. It's in semi-final 2. I think she is a very consistent performer. You know, it's not one of the hardest vocal performances, like for the song, but it's one where you need consistent vocals too, because she does a lot of dancing along with singing in her performance, so she kind of needs to be consistent in all those, and I found she has been. It's like Hungary, it's not my type of music. As a result, I don't like the song, but that's to do with my personal taste. I do think for what it is, it's probably quite good. And even though I don't particularly like the song, I hope it does well, which is strange because I think she's very consistent and the song is different. You know, that's very much like my perception towards Hungary. It's just not to my taste. As a result, I'm only going to give it 1 point, and the reason it gets the point for her performance, how good she is. I just don't like the song, unfortunately. Next up is Ukraine's song by Melovin, not quite sure. The song's called Under the Ladder. This is in English, it's in semi-final 2. Like Hungary, it's one of the songs tipped to make the final. I like the song overall. I have a weird kind of thoughts about this song. My main issue is I struggle to understand what he's singing. his diction isn't quite clear to me. Like, there's 3 parts I know. I know when he goes, oh, like, literally just going, oh. I know that a decision has to be made, whatever the weather. But other than that, I have no clue. So I don't actually know what type of decision has to be made, which actually is quite amusing when I'm just like, I'm always looking out for that lyric whenever I listen to it, because I can't make any of the rest of the song out. I'm looking forward to seeing it live the whole way through in the semi-final. He seems to be a very creative and involved performer. I think he was involved a lot with creating the staging for this, which is going to be quite good. It seems a bit flamboyant as well, which is cool. I'm going to give it 2 points. I hope his diction improves, but other than that, it's a very good, enjoyable song. The next song is Austria's song by Caesar Sampson, called Nobody But You. This is in English. It's in semi-final 1. I think he's very strong vocally. Overall, aside from a couple of examples, I think the solo males are very good this year, which is good to hear. Well, for my ears at least. I think the song is good. I do like it, but I just don't love it. I love the gospel elements. I think that makes it different and stand out, but it's just not something I love. I don't know why, but other songs stand out to me more than this. I'm going to give it 2 points, just because it's just not my favourite song. Other than that, I think it's got very good and many likeable qualities to it. Next, I'm going to look at Azerbaijan's song. It's by Isor, and the song's called Cross My Heart. This is in English. It's in semi-final 1. It's actually opening the semi. This song has grown on me a lot. I think it's a strange example though, as it's one of my favourite songs to listen to, but at the same time, I think it's very generic and not as much of a quality song compared to the others. Like, there are others I love and I think they are better songs, and there's actually songs which I don't like as much as this song, but I think they are critically better songs. The first live performance I watched of this was actually from the rehearsals. I think her singing's good, but to me the staging is just very drab almost. It's very kind of like, it ties into what I thought when I first listened to it, where it reminded me of Greece's song last year. This kind of dance track, not completely fast paced, but I thought last year Greece, the staging didn't stand out so much, and I think this is going to be very, very similar to that. I'm going to give it 2 points. Even though I love to listen to it, I still don't think it's the best song. I hope the staging is better than the clip officially released. The next song is Cyprus's song. It's by Eleni Ferreira and it's called Fuego. This song is in English. This is actually closing the first semi-final. When I was looking at this again, I was shocked I only gave it 1 point initially. I thought I gave it 2 points because I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favourite song at the time. So I was kind of surprised by that. And the more I listen to this song, the more I like it. I think it's actually one of the best songs of the contest. It's not my particular favourite song. It's up there, but it's not one of my absolute favourites in terms of the actual song. But I think, based on what I've seen at the rehearsals as well, I think this is the potential to be my all-round favourite when you take into account vocals and staging and everything. I know she'd released a few live videos of slower versions of it. I did want to see the proper live version, so the rehearsal clip was the first one, and I think she's very good live. I am looking forward to seeing this the whole way through in the semi-final. I think this will easily sail through to the final. I think with semi-final 1, I'm kind of gearing myself to not be too upset, because I know some songs I like will not get through. I think I'm personally going to be more shocked by the second semi-final, because I just don't have the expectations of someone I like a lot not going through for that. I think it's just the fact that semi-final 1 is a bloodbath. I'm expecting to be disappointed with that, whereas semi-final 2 I'll probably be more surprised by. So this one is one of the only ones in the first semi-final I will be genuinely very disappointed by if it doesn't make it through. As a result, I'm going to give it 3 points. I think it's a cracking song. There's nothing more to it than that. I just think it's brilliant. The next song is Georgia's Song. It's by the Ethno-Jazz band Ireo. The song is called For You. It's in Georgian. It's in the second semi-final. I appreciate this song a lot more than I initially did. I think the harmonies are brilliant. It's a very strong song vocally. I read that I knew that it had too many members, the band, for the actual limit on the Eurovision stage for how many people you could have. And I actually read recently that the older members of the band stepped down from performing on stage for this so the younger members could have the spotlight, which I thought was very sweet. It kind of gives it a bit of a nice background. I do still get irritated by the build up where they build the song up and then instead of belting they go really quiet and understated with their vocals and then it builds up again. But that's a pet peeve for me. I'm going to give it 2 points. I'm actually somewhat surprised that I'm giving it 2 points because when I'm just like casually thinking about the songs I like and whatever, Georgia never really comes up for me. But when I actually think about the song, I like it a lot. I realise I like it a lot more than I expect. And my main issue with this song is the misleading build-up, but that's just me. The next song is Iceland's Song by Ari Olafsson, and it's called Our Choice. This song is in English, it's in the first semi-final, and this song is pretty much considered to be guaranteed to not make the final. It's the one song most people don't think will make it. I feel bad because he's so adorable. He's got this cute little smiley face, and I just don't like the song. To me, it comes across as very dated. It's kind of like a ballad you would have found in the early 2000s in Eurovision. I do think, unfortunately, he's vocally very strong. He's a very good singer. So it's unfortunate because he deserves a better song than this, I think. So I'm only going to give it 1 point. And that point is only because of his vocals. If he couldn't sing so well, I wouldn't give this any points. To me, it's the weakest song of the competition. The final song I'm going to look at is Lithuania's Song by Eva Sasmauskaut. That is definitely pronounced wrong. Sasmauskaut? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name. The song is called When We're Old. This is in English, it's in semi-final 1. For me, this is the biggest grower of the competition. Initially, I thought it was one of the most boring songs. I thought it was dull, that I would be so bored watching it in the semi-final, and that it had no chance of going through. Now it's one of my favourite songs. I think it's utterly beautiful. I love the simplicity of it. And the way, I don't know, I think some of the most beautiful love songs are the most simple ones. Like, I prefer Dolly Parton's version of I Will Always Love You to Whitney Houston, because I think the kind of tenderness of her vocals gives the song a lot more of a beauty than just belting, and I think that's what this song makes me think of. The sort of tenderness and simplicity makes it more beautiful. I really hope this gets through to the final. It's like Cyprus in a very tough semi. Those are the only two that I will be really gutted about if they don't make it. And I'm going to give it 3 points. It's one of my favourite songs of the competition. I think it's beautiful. So, as a result, I've had a massive change of opinion on quite a few of these songs. I think this shows the strength of semi-final 1. The majority of songs I initially gave 1 point to are in semi-2. And my 2 biggest growers are in semi-final 1. So this has changed the scoring slightly. There will be a few massive changes later on. But I have been Flossy. Ta-ta!